let's break down all these matchups really quickly. So the first matchup, Gonzaga and Arkansas. First of all, yes, it would technically be an upset if Arkansas was to beat Gonzaga. Gonzaga finishes the number one overall seed in the tournament, in the rankings, during the last final rankings. Arkansas was a top 20 team in the nation anyway, so they're a good team. I think the problem that Arkansas is going to have with Gonzaga, which is why I don't see them winning, is they're a very guard centric team, Arkansas, and that's really tough. It's tough for guards to take over against Gonzaga with their length on the perimeter. Normally, the teams that beat Gonzaga are the teams that have height, the teams that have big guys, whether they're traditional bigs, whether they're stretch forwards. Those are the types of players that play physically with Gonzaga. Those are the types of teams like a Memphis that can pose some problems for them. So I don't see Arkansas winning this game. So I'm not going to predict an upset there. I'm going to have Gonzaga winning. Now, obviously, St. Peter's and the Peacocks, the run that they've had, every single win that they've had has been an amazing comeback, has been an amazing upset. I love the confidence and the swagger that they play with. Shout out to that the one kid, Eater. Apologies. The 3-point guy with the mustache. I forget his name. He already signed a new NIL deal with Buffalo Wild Wings. I saw got posted. So congrats to him. They're maximizing this tournament run. They obviously knocked off Kentucky, then Murray State. This is a little bit of a different team in Purdue. They've got a bona fide superstar on that team in Jaden Ivey. They're really well coached. I don't see them beating Purdue. I love Shaheen Holloway is making a case to land a bigger job next season. So good for him. But Doug Eater. I was just thinking about his name. All the memes about Doug. Shout out to those guys. But they've had a fantastic season. I don't expect that run to continue, so I'm not going to predict an upset in that Sweet 16 matchup. UNC and UCLA, there's no question that if North Carolina was to beat UCLA, it would be an upset. But I do think UCLA is a 4 seed, North Carolina is an 8 seed. These are two storied programs in college basketball. So I think whenever anyone hears North Carolina in the NCAA tournament, are they really going to be that surprised? Now, I know Roy Williams isn't the head coach anymore, but this is still a blue blood program in North Carolina. And the way that we saw them dismantle Duke in Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor, and the way that they beat down Baylor and were dominating them before their best player fouled out. Yes, it would be an upset. I wouldn't consider it a huge upset. I also don't necessarily see it happening. It could happen. But I like UCLA's experience a little bit more in this spot. But regardless, I wouldn't consider that a huge upset, an 8 seed over a 4 seed, personally. Then we have 11 seed Iowa State, 10 seed Miami. Neither of those matchups, I think, would be viewed as an upset. Miami is scary right now. They look fantastic. The way that they've been playing, extremely confident. Jim Larinaga has always performed well in the tournament. He always gets his teams to perform well in the tournament. So both of those two teams are on an incredible ride this year. One of them is going to punch their ticket into the Elite Eight, and it would be a monumentous moment for both of those schools and those programs. Providence and Kansas, that could be an upset. Because I like Al Durham. I like Bynum for Providence. I love their head coach. This is a Providence Friars team that doesn't get a lot of attention, and that would be an upset if they were to knock off number 1 Kansas in the Big 12. And Kansas isn't the same number 1 Kansas type of team that we've seen from Bill Self. Ochai Agbaji is a great player. He's having a tremendous season, but I don't necessarily know if this is the most dominant number 1 seed. Now, I actually think this game will be really close. And to be honest, I didn't even have Kansas in my Elite 8. I had them in the Elite 8. I had them in the Elite 8, losing to an Auburn team that obviously lost, and even a Wisconsin team that lost earlier. But don't even get me started about Wisconsin. I emotionally can't handle talking about my Wisconsin Badgers today. It is what it is. You shoot 2 for 23 from the 3-point line in Milwaukee when you're from Wisconsin. It is what it is. It is what it is. But so I have Kansas beating Providence, but that obviously would be an upset. But I still don't see it happening, even though Providence is really well coached and it's going to be a competitive game. I don't see it necessarily happening. Houston and Arizona, I'm a little bit worried for Arizona. The way that TCU pushed them, I still have the Wildcats reaching the finals, the championship game. And I love Matherin, Coloco. This is a really good Arizona team. But this is also a Houston team that they they didn't deserve to be a 5 seed, to put it bluntly. They finished as a top 15 team in the nation in the final rankings. This should have been probably a 3 or 4 seed in the tournament. So the fact that they were a 5 seed was a bit of a snub to them. And so that's why I wouldn't view that as a huge upset if they were to win. I don't see it happening. I see Arizona winning. But even if Houston did win, I look at it less as a 5 seed over a 1 seed and more, okay, maybe the 13th ranked team over the 2nd ranked team in the nation. And that's kind of how you have to look at it. And from that perspective, yes, it would be an upset. It wouldn't be a huge upset, in my opinion, but I also don't see it happening. I see Arizona winning. Texas Tech 3 seed, number 2 seed Duke. No upsets there. If Texas Tech wins, great. I have Duke beating Texas Tech, but the physicality that Texas Tech plays with, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to win. But again, I wouldn't view that as an upset because that can be the difference between 1 or 2 spots in the seeding. So they're pretty evenly matched. Here's where I do see an upset. And I'm concerned about Villanova against number 11 Michigan. And this is something I begrudgingly say because I don't love rooting for Michigan. I still won't root for Michigan. I love Villanova. I love Colin Gillespie. I love Justin Moore. Jay Wright is obviously a fantastic coach. He's kind of that next upper echelon of coaches in college basketball. But the way that Juwan Howard has the Wolverines playing right now, with Hunter Dickinson scoring 18 points per game, like a double-double per game. Eli Brooks is playing really well. He's got them playing extremely hard. They're battle-tested. They're more battle-tested than you might think. They've managed to come back from big deficits already in this tournament to win games. So this is kind of a team that just is continuing to brim with more and more confidence. And I would not be surprised if Michigan knocks off number 2 seed Villanova. And to be honest, I'm not rooting for it. I have Villanova winning, but I had them winning not against Michigan. I had them edging out Tennessee. Now that it's Michigan, I could see that being a potential upset. I really, really could.